Hello and welcome to episode 2 of Real Life Ghost Stories.
How you do?
To kick things off this week, we need to thank you all for your kind words, your comments, your likes, your subscriptions to our channel, and all of the feedback on the last video. It was much appreciated, and I read every single comment.
And I haven't even watched the video yet. Obviously, I watched it when I was editing it, but I've not watched it on YouTube.
So if you want to keep up to date with our YouTube channel, then please make sure that you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell, because we don't have an upload schedule yet, but we'll figure it out as we go along. Because this is a side project.
It is.
Because what we do in our main world is we are podcasters. We've got a podcast called Real Life Ghost Stories. And in the latest episode of Real Life Ghost Stories, we talked about Mothman. Now, Mothman is not only the sexiest cryptid, which is an absolute inside joke, I'm sorry.
And also completely false, because that obviously lies with Bigfoot.
Yep, Dan's got a thing for Bigfoot. He is the deceptiest cryptid.
The what?
I really wanted that to work and it just didn't work, did it?
The what now?
I wanted to say the sexiest and deceptiest.
It's got a ring to it.
I mean, he is the most deceptive cryptid.
Ah, okay, that's what you're going for.
Do you want to know why?
Yes.
Because he is neither a moth nor a man, or a mix of the two. Now, I thought when we were doing the podcast episode that I would spend the entire episode laughing at the ridiculousness of this story. But what we learned about Mothman is not that he is some Mothman hybrid, but actually he is some sort of harbinger of doom, which is an entirely different idea than some sort of cryptid.
Fair.
And there are stories of Mothman all over the world, not just in Point Pleasant.
That's true.
So I went on the hunt for evidence of Mothman. But
Did you go to Point Pleasant?
I did.
Oh my gosh,
That's where
when
I was
did you fit that in?
That's where I was this week.
Fair play, breaking curfew.
But before we get into the evidence, what is your thought on Mothman? Do you think Mothman is a cryptid, or do you think that Mothman is a supernatural paranormal being?
I think he is a sign.
Okay.
Kind of like the Christmas star, only a little bit more doomy. So when he appears, you know that something is going to happen, but it's more doom-like rather than newborn baby.
That was the weirdest comparison you could have made.
You get what I mean though, right?
I do get what you mean. Like, it worked, but it was very strange. I'm just going to move on because I don't really know what to say.
Sorry.
So like I said, there was very little evidence of Mothman, and usually with a cryptid you end up with videos or grainy photographs, but there was very little out there about Mothman. And I found myself watching a video by a creator on YouTube called Trey the Explainer. So I would recommend that you watch Trey the Explainer's 2-part series on Mothman. And what I found in all of my digging were 3 pictures of Mothman. So are you ready? You need to get your detective hat on because we're going to dissect these pictures.
Okay.
Wrong job.
Yeah.
Wrong job. But you know what I mean. Okay, so picture number 1 was reportedly taken in 1967 or 1966, I can't remember, in Point Pleasant on the bridge just before the bridge collapsed.
Okay. There you go, there's your proof. That's him, isn't it? Clearly. He's got the wings like this.
Yep. He's on a bridge.
He's on the bridge. He's on the bridge.
Yep.
It's clearly not collapsed yet. So therefore, that's your proof, surely. I mean, it's not quite... Why are you laughing?
That's your proof.
Yeah, well, it's a picture of Mothman.
I'm very glad you're not a lawyer.
I mean... Or it'd be like the Simpsons lawyer. It wasn't quite what I was expecting. I thought he would be like floating above the bridge, like ah, and he's kind of just clinging to the edge of it, like he's been drunkenly dared to go up there and is kind of regretting his choice.
Okay, so there's also in this series of pictures there was a picture of Mothman in flight. So I'm going to show you that too. Are you ready?
Yep. There you go. I mean, that one's a little bit grainy, but he's clearly flying there, is he not? Like, that is something in flight, and he's no longer hanging off the bridge like he was looking like he was going to jump.
No.
I can't see any wings.
No, me neither.
Looks a little bit like it could be a speck of dust on the lens.
Yes, it does. Or an insect on the lens, but that's
Yeah.
not the point. It's
Yeah.
got a red circle around it. You know they mean business when they've got a red circle around them.
True.
But what's wrong with this picture? There's something incredibly wrong with this picture.
The red circle.
I mean, yes, that was added afterwards, very expertly, as you can see.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe that it's in colour, but they had colour photos in the 60s.
Yeah, they did.
Particularly towards the end.
They did have colour photos in the 60s, but it's unlikely that a lay person would have access to a disposable camera in the 60s. But it might be. Maybe it was somebody who happened to have a camera at an opportune moment.
Yeah, it could have been like a journalist.
Could have been,
Maybe
absolutely.
journalist.
The only problem with this picture
Yep.
is that the real image is bigger
Okay.
and has a timestamp on it.
Oh, you done it to me again.
And that timestamp is from 2003.
Well, maybe...
And it's not the Silver
No,
Bridge.
it can't be, can it? Because it's fallen down.
No. It was the Ironton Russell Bridge, which was demolished in 2003.
There you go then. It's clearly still Mothman, isn't it?
Mothman does not moonlight as a demolition man.
No, he didn't demolish it, but it was like he was there in 2003. Hang on. When was the bridge demolished?
The bridge was demolished in 2003.
Oh, okay. Right, okay, yeah. So, he's there in 2003,
Yeah.
just letting them know that's a little bit unsafe. And then the government have taken preemptive action, taking the bridge down.
Do you think that the government take their orders from Mothman?
Well, I think he is in the wider scope of people's understanding these days. And so when they see him knocking about, particularly about bridges, they're like, better do something about that.
Right.
So he's almost become a supernatural health and safety inspector.
Especially those 2 bridges that he's associated with. One of which we didn't know he was associated with until 5 minutes ago.
Well, there you go.
And
That's
also,
because you don't find out about the good stuff, do you? The press reports disasters. No disaster has happened because they took the bridge down.
the interesting thing is that actually the Silver Bridge disaster wasn't really accredited to Mothman until way afterwards, because there was no Mothman sightings anywhere near the Silver Bridge, even though there were over 100 sightings of Mothman in Point Pleasant at the time in the 60s. There were no sightings of Mothman on or near the Silver Bridge. That's just something we've manufactured after the fact.
But I put this to you.
Okay, to me specifically.
In the 60s, if you have a community like Point Pleasant and the main bridge is in and out of there, that is affecting the community. I don't know what that word was. That is affecting the community of Point Pleasant.
Yeah, it's...
So therefore, he's just letting them all know that there's a good chance they might die. But obviously they didn't know that at that point.
I presume that if he was going to let them all know they might die, he would have just said the bridge is going to collapse.
No, but he can't say anything because he's just like an image. Did the star that appear over Bethlehem go, oi, there's a baby being born down here?
Why are we still holding on to that?
Because that's my analogy of it.
Okay, we're not getting anywhere with this. So I'm going to go on to the next picture.
I think it's a fair point, but there you go.
Okay, so chronologically, this is the next picture allegedly taken of Mothman. And this picture was taken in 2001. And it is around the time, well, it is the time of a very tragic event in America. So we're not going to go into massive detail. So in New York, on the morning of 9/11, a man called Stephen Moran, who has been interviewed numerous times about this photo, took a photo of Ground Zero. And this is the photo that he captured.
Okay.
He believes that this photo is an angel. And lots of people use this photo to suggest that Mothman was there for 9/11.
Okay. I've got a massive problem with this photo.
The fact that it's a bird?
No.
Is that what your problem is?
No.
Okay.
Why would Mothman appear after it happened?
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Doesn't really fit in with the narrative.
And it also looks more like a pterodactyl. So maybe that's what you saw in New York.
I'm fairly sure that this is a bird.
I don't know, but The distance it's at and the length of the legs. Oh, I guess it could be perspective again. I learned about that last week.
Yeah.
It's not babies. It's perspective.
But also, I'm glad that you brought it forward to this week.
Yeah.
That's really, that's progress. That's learning.
Yeah.
So I think we can dismiss this one.
I'm not sceptical about it because I don't know whether I don't think it's been tampered with. I just feel like it's not, I don't know why would he be knocking about after it's already fallen down?
Yeah, true.
If he's like a harbinger.
You love that word.
Such a good word.
And our final photo is from 2016.
Okay.
Now, this photo was taken by a man who was driving through Point Pleasant. He claims that he had moved to Point Pleasant for work and had no idea of the Mothman legend.
Okay.
He was driving home one night near the TNT, which is the local name for the nature reserve where Mothman was first sighted, and he saw this creature leaping from tree to tree.
What?
Leaping from tree to tree.
Mothman don't leap from tree to tree.
Sorry, are you an expert on Mothman? You don't know if Mothman leaps.
We've done a whole episode on it, so
That's
I'd like
true.
to say yes, we are.
That's true.
And there is no
Unlimited research.
other stories of Mothman jumping from tree to tree.
But
So I'm calling BS on that.
you haven't seen the pictures yet.
Doesn't matter.
This man took
not
some
Mothman.
pictures. He has remained anonymous,
Okay.
but these pictures circulated widely in newspapers all over the world, not just in Point Pleasant. Are you ready?
Oh well. Can I take it back?
Mothman is real. He jumps from tree to tree.
I mean, so maybe we're working on the principle here that Mothman is not a being of flight, but it's more like the flying squirrel and glides.
Glides at 100 miles an hour. The first story told of Mothman flying at upwards of 100 miles an hour.
All right, maybe not.
So he can fly. We have to put that out there.
I mean, as sceptical as I was about his description of it jumping from tree to tree, that looks like a winged man to me.
Jumping from tree to tree.
I can see his legs. It's flying. I mean, the one that is sort of just white background and him with his legs is very clearly a humanoid-ish winged figure.
It does look very humanoid.
And then the other one looks like could be a thunderbird.
Yes. Or, as Twitter rightly pointed out, it could be an owl holding a snake.
How is that Twitter being right?
How is that not an owl holding a snake?
It's not, is it? Well, you can't definitively say that is an owl smoking a snake.
I could definitely say it's not smoking a snake.
Holding a snake. There's no way you can definitively say that.
Yes, I can. I just did.
How can you?
Because it's an owl holding a snake. Now, I need...
Show me the snake.
So, the leggies...
Show me the snake. Don't show me a long thing that could be a snake. Show me the snake. If you're going to be definitive about it, where is the snake?
So what I'd like you to do, before this descends into a full-on argument, is leave in the comments whether you think it's an owl holding a snake or whether you think it's Mothman. Don't say it's Mothman just to appease Dan, because that... I'll never hear the end of it.
I'd just like to lay my cards on the table. I'm not saying that it's Mothman. I'm saying it could be Mothman. Okay. Just like you should be saying it could be an owl with a snake.
Okay.
Could be.
So last week I decided that the Fresno night crawlers was some sort of a hoax in some capacity. This week, I don't think these 3 photos are hoaxed.
No.
I think that these 3 photos are a case of misidentification.
No.
What do you think?
No, I don't know, to be honest with you. I tend to think that if Mothman is a thing, probably couldn't be photographed.
Fair.
But these things are worth investigating. Because that is a man with legs flying. And I have not seen that before. So I'd look into it.
A man with legs flying.
What?
If you enjoyed this week's video and you believe that is indeed a man with legs flying, then please make sure that you leave a comment. Make sure that you give this video a thumbs up. Make sure that you subscribe and make sure that you ring the notification bell. If you want to listen to our podcast, it is longer and there's a lot more research, then make sure that you click the link in the description and listen to our podcast. And on that note, any final words? we'll see you next week.
Bye.